What are the most common errors that come up when using your FORZA ONE? In this video, we'll identify the issues and we're going to fix it. My name is Jonathan Aguilar, part of the FORZA Laser engineering team. And today I'm excited to tell you I'm on tour installing our iconic FORZA ONE. I'll be visiting Venezuela, Costa Rica, and Mexico. As a fun anecdote, after handing over the machine, a lot of operators call us and say something like, "Hey, it's not cutting right," or "I just got this weird alarm in FORZA Play, what do I do?" These issues are actually very common, mainly because the operator is still in the process of learning how the system works, and sometimes they might have simply forgotten to calibrate the capacitive sensor. Today in this video, we'll tackle these errors and solve them. But before we start, if you haven't already, subscribe, turn on the bell, and smash that like button. Share this with your friends so this content reaches more people who need it. Let's go with error number 1. The first error is increased capacitance, and it shows up in the alarm section something like this. This is error E004, which indicates increased capacitance at 54,135. This value is different for each machine. This happens because that ceramic sensor has a little pin inside that's meant to stay in contact with the internal base. Now, if that pin gets loose or disconnected, the system immediately triggers this alarm and shows it on the screen. How to fix it? Well, we have to loosen the locking nut that holds the sensor, remove the nozzle, loosen it, and check the ceramic base. Here's the ceramic base. These couplings connect internally here, and you need to place them correctly. For example, we'll find them here, make sure it doesn't rotate, and then proceed to tighten it. We tighten it well and place the nozzle. Okay. We'll go closer to the screen, and we see the alarm has disappeared. To prevent this alarm, as a recommendation, when you change the nozzle and tighten it. Additionally, you should also tighten the sensor's securing nut. Error number 2, incorrect water flow. Remember that the chiller cools the laser source part and the laser head part, and it sends water through the ducts. If any of these ducts is crushed, we'll see an alarm, either the E05 or the E12. The first error, the E05, refers to a lack of flow in the laser source. And the second error, the E12, refers to a lack of flow in the laser head. As we can observe here, we have placed a cap on the chiller's water outlet hose. Evidently, with this cap, there's no water coming out, and consequently, no water will be entering either. But if either of these two hoses is crushed or blocked with the cap, there will be no water flow. This will then trigger an alarm on the chiller. And remember, the FORZA software, specifically FORZA Play, has a system for recognizing connected peripherals. So, when there's an alarm on the chiller, the software will detect it. Any work that you are currently performing will be immediately halted. How do we solve this? We need to turn off the chiller first, before attempting to remove the cap. This is absolutely crucial because, as I've mentioned, the water flow is quite strong. We then proceed to disable the breaker to ensure the chiller powers down. I'm not sure if you could hear it before, but now it has completely stopped making any sound. At this very moment, we are going to perform the connection to resolve the alarm. Now, with the chiller powered off, we proceed to remove the cap. And then, we also remove the cap that is on the laser source itself. Next, we proceed to place the hose. We press firmly so that it fits snugly and adjusts properly. And that, essentially, would be everything. Please remember that either of the two hoses can potentially be crushed. This could be the hose that cools the laser source, or it could be the hose that cools the laser head. Once the problem has been identified and successfully resolved, we then proceed to enable the breaker for both the laser source and the chiller unit. At this very moment, all the peripherals are now fully operational. The laser source is completely enabled, and the chiller unit has also successfully entered into full functioning mode. As we can clearly observe right here on the display, it's no longer indicating any alarms whatsoever, and we can't hear any alarm beeps at all. At this moment, the chiller is ready for any work. It turns out I've been doing small jobs in the center of the machine, and the equipment is working well. But when I switched to performing a much larger job, it's possible that the machine will collide. This is where error number 3, the collision error, begins. When the machine's mechanical 0 point hasn't been established or found, the equipment simply won't work correctly. And in one of the axes, there's a strong possibility of a collision, whether it's on the X, Y, or Z axis. If we attempt to move it, as we can clearly hear, there's a distinct sound. This indicates it has collided on the X-axis. This situation should absolutely not happen if the respective procedures are followed when starting work with the equipment. Now, as you can observe in the software, an alarm has appeared. Won't allow you to move the axis until after a moment, which is approximately 5 seconds. If we try to move it towards the back, we're also going to hear a thud. We'll also hear a thud, and another alarm has appeared in the FORZA Play software. Since we've now heard the malfunction, let's see how to resolve it. To resolve the collision error, we're going to click on the Go Home button. What this button does is initialize everything, or rather, send all the axes to their 0 point. How do we know the axes have been set correctly? It's because next to each axis X, Y, and Z, respectively, a small white circle with several distinct black lines will become clearly visible. That particular symbol, right there, indicates that the axis is correctly set. At this very moment, we can observe that both the X and Y axes are actively moving. They will obviously begin to execute multiple, precise movements until they successfully locate the machine's working 0 point. Remember, from this point forward, the machine's working area extends 1,500 millimeters to the right and 3,000 millimeters to the back. This means it has a working area of 1.5 meters by 3 meters. The axes have finally successfully completed their homing procedure, and we can clearly observe that the machine is now precisely located at the 0 point. Now, we're going to perform a crucial test to effectively see if the equipment indeed does not collide. We'll move it back just a little bit, and then we'll maintain continuous pressure on the button. As you can see, it hasn't collided, and no alarm appeared. This time, it's the sensor alarm, indicating it's reached the start of its working area. Okay, well, if we move it towards the right, you'll also notice that we don't hear any sound. Therefore, this is exactly how the laser equipment should be operated. The next error is a limit error, which can be either lower or upper, and it's related to the laser. This specifically refers to the laser's focus. This error commonly happens when we send the machine to its 0 point, and that particular process gets interrupted. For example, right now, it's performing the calibration, and then I intentionally press the stop button. When I press that stop button, an alarm promptly appears here on the screen, and it specifically indicates -1 -W limit alarm. And if we observe visually, right here where we can clearly see the focus, we'll notice that it's positioned above the permitted limit. To effectively resolve this particular alarm, we're going to carry out the following procedure. We navigate to focus control and click on that particular button. Here, we essentially have to perform one of two actions. We first observe precisely where the fault actually occurred in this specific case. It's indicating a negative value. So, we then press the plus button here, continuing until it clears the error. Once it's out of the error, we then perform the normal process of finding the equipment's 0 point. And that, right there, is precisely how you fix this error. If you want to learn more about the FORZA ONE equipment, I invite you to watch the video located in the link in description. This is the first part of the most common errors on your FORZA ONE. There are more errors that can occur when using your laser machine, so we invite you to subscribe so you can watch the second part of this video.